I don't really know, man. I don't have a good answer for you on that one. I guess it's a house show main event, so maybe they just kind of, it's those things are usually just opportunities for the champion to go over. So I'm assuming that's what'll happen here. It seems like they're going to run with Kofi against Randy Orton at SummerSlam. So it's probably just a spot for Kofi to get a win. As far as why they decided to put it on the network, I couldn't tell you. I don't know. Is there something else going on that night that maybe they want to try to counter program since that's their thing lately? I couldn't tell you.
Not that I know of. I don't think there's anything to really counter program that. It's a Friday. What do you counter program? Bowling maybe? Is there a bowling game on? Is there a PBA Tour match on?
Maybe they're trying to get people used to watching SmackDown on a Friday again, so when it goes to Fox in a few months. I mean, I don't know.
Testing viewership. It's possible. And the last thing I wanted to, we'll touch on the news and notes section before we get to last week's wrestling. How do you feel about them going ahead and embracing this whole TV 14 aspect? Did you see the gynecological camera shot of Lacey Evans on Extreme Rules?
Well, I saw them zoom in on her tights, which was apparently it had Seth Rollins' first name on the back. That was what I saw.
To her tights, Joe? Was it just her tights? So like her tights were on the ground and they just zoomed in on her tights?
Tights were on the ground. That might have been a different show. Different movie altogether. No, yeah, it was a little weird. It was definitely weird. They had a quick zoom in on the backside area as Lacey Evans was bending over. So not exactly what you would probably want to present to children, but that's.
And did you hear Renee Young drop an F-bomb, by the way?
The alleged F-bomb? Yes.
The alleged F-bomb? I listened to it a couple of times. It clearly sounds like an F-bomb, Joe.
Yes, it's a yeah, that was I did hear that. I listened to the same clip that you did. So, think live TV, man, things happen. I don't know what to say from Renee Young. I mean, it's better than her going, ooh, about when certain moves happen. So, if that's, I don't know what's better or worse.
That's brutal. That's such a good reference. Okay, so, listen, without...
Yeah.
Where are we? We're back. Okay. So without further ado, last week we talked about a bunch of shows that were happening professional wrestling-wise. A couple of the biggest ones, to me, the biggest one we spoke about, we had Trevin Adams, COO of WWN, Shine announcer, Evolve announcer, good friend of the show. He was on the show, man. It was great talking to somebody that loves the business as much as he does, and hear how excited he was for Evolve 131. So I kind of wanted to talk about Evolve. They've been so, they've been very good to us, but even more importantly, they've been having some really, really quality shows. And on Saturday night, you and I were together. We watched Evolve 131, the first ever independent wrestling promotion on the WWE Network live. That is, depends on what you call it, ECW. But, top to bottom, before we get, we'll just touch on a couple of the matches, but top to bottom, what did you think of the show?
I enjoyed the show a lot. I think, part of that is probably because Evolve has been a product that we've been following for a little while now. And like you said, they've been very good to us, but we are, pretty familiar with a lot of the wrestlers on there. Whereas maybe some people who don't watch Evolve, there's some new people to them as far as watching some of the matches. But I thought it was really good. That night was this show and the AEW Fight for the Fallen show were kind of up against each other in terms of what was on. And we both had agreed, I think, that we were looking forward to watching Evolve more. And I really liked what they did. You could tell at the presentation, the cameras were of, better quality and things like that, just based off of, comparison to the other Evolve shows that you could, watch live. But, they really... I don't think they strayed too much from what they normally do, except for maybe the Paul Heyman appearance in the middle of the show. But other than that, I think that they put on a good show. You could tell all the wrestlers were working hard and probably super excited to be on the WWE Network. Probably, for a lot of them for the first time. And I thought they put on a really strong show.
Yeah, just touch on a couple of matches. They opened it up with Retro AG and Josh Briggs. Do you think there was a better match to kind of kick off the show? The crowd was hot. Retro AG's gimmick is fantastic. His personality is awesome. Josh Briggs, they're kind of booking as a monster. I thought they put on one hell of a match, and it was hard hitting. Anthony Green took the loss. I don't think it hurts him, but I don't think there was a better match to put in that opening spot.
No, and those guys are two guys that I know. I think you had sent me that WWE was kind of featuring in terms of their profiles. Some young independent guys on the up and up. So it was cool for them to open the show with those two dudes. We've talked to both of them, like you said, and they both work really hard, and they put on a really good match to open it up.
Next up, the Scramble. That was a pretty good match. But to me, Anthony Henry and Arturo Huas, those two guys, literally just beat the ever-loving holy heck out of each other, if you will. I know you love the former Jauji. So, Joe, what did you think of Anthony Henry and Jauji?
It was a hard-hitting match. It was good. I'm not so pleased with the result of the outcome, but I don't want to.
No, it's poop. It's ball poop, Joe.
Yeah, I don't want to quibble with things, but yeah, they did have again a hard hitting match. Huas is a guy that's really an NXT guy that's, I guess, in Evolve kind of honing his gimmick or ring work, so to speak. So but I did like the match. I usually, right or wrong, I'll poop on some of his stuff, but I did like the match. Unfortunately, our buddy Anthony Henry didn't come out on top. But
yeah, probably has a lot to do with Anthony Henry being awesome and having consistently great matches. Brandy versus Shotzi. Let me tell you something. The match was good, but the Shotzi suicide dive onto the Temple of Doom chair spot will live in infamy forever.
Yeah, big time risk spot for her there, but it was cool. I had not seen a spot like that in a long time, if I ever have. And I guess kudos to her for taking that bump. I did see, obviously, she got a lot of reaction to that after the match was over on social media and things for kind of taking that risk and how it came out. But she did say that because she was kind of busted open, in the match, but it was not from that spot. Apparently, it was from Natalia Markova interfering in the beginning of the match and kicking her in the face. So, but Shotzi, again, it's an opportunity for them, right, to showcase what they can do. And, these women and other folks on the show, I'm sure we'll get to the AR Fox tag match in a minute. They went all out. They put on a good match, and, that feud will probably between Brandi Lauren and Shotzi Blackheart will certainly continue on to future Shine and maybe Evolve shows also.
Yeah, part of me wonders if with the win there, if Brandi kind of staked her claim for the Shine Nova title shot. It'll be interesting to see what they do in the next couple of weeks. You brought it up. The Skulk, AR Fox, Rough, Leon Ruff against Eddie Kingston and Joe Gacy. Listen, I predicted the outcome to a T. I'm not happy with the outcome. I loved the match. I like the Skulk, don't get me wrong. I just feel like Eddie Kingston is what some would call a professional wrestling god and should have gotten the W. That's all.
Yeah, I know you had predicted the title change. I didn't think that they'd go that route just because I know Fox and Ruff had pinned them at the last Evolve show. But, they ended up doing the switch, and it was, not your traditional tag team style match. It was very, tornado tag and a lot of crazy
ECW-esque, tag match.
Yeah, a lot of crazy spots and dives, and again, AR Fox going all out as all the other guys did as well. So really, really cool old school style brawling type tag team match with a hot crowd and a cool finish where the tag titles changed hands.
Catch point imploding. Drew Gulak, cruiserweight champion, versus everybody's favorite bro, Matt Riddle. Listen, the match was everything you thought it was going to be. The match was hot, had a lot of heat. Gulak is from Philly. Everybody was behind him. They were kind of booing Riddle. The crowd was hot. The match was good. Lots of catch wrestling, lots of submission wrestling. Matt Riddle, unfortunately, won with the Gotch-style Tombstone Slam, if you will. I love the match.
The Bro
But
Derek, is that where you're going?
yeah. The Bro Derek. Listen, I just don't like your newly crowned Cruiserweight champion taking a loss when he didn't have to. That's all.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, it's not my favorite thing either. And they I don't know. It's cool if they did a little bit of a throwback with the catch point stuff. So I mean, that was nice, and they had a really good match. It's unfortunate that Gulak had to take the loss there, but
right after winning the belt, he won it like what, a week before? 2 weeks, whatever it was.
Yeah, I guess at the last pay-per-view. I mean, the next night he ended up defending it against Tony Nese and winning. So, what can you say?
Okay, what can you say? The booking of WWE sucks. That's what I could say, Joe. Next up, JD Drake, WWN champion versus Austin Theory in a winner-take-all match. I mean, this had all the classic pro wrestling story. JD Drake, it took him 15 years to get there. Austin Theory, the young punk kid who was talking guff about JD Drake, if you will, telling how long it took and how then, Drake come back and saying he's given up everything. Nobody's going to hit as hard as life. The story was great. The match was great. To me, it was everything it needed to be for that moment, for those titles.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, match could have gone either way. A lot of crazy false finishes at the end.
We were brought in a couple times.
Yes. Yeah. Because I think, it's you don't know in this type of match, you're not really sure who's going to win, especially when there's title for title. The WWN title, which I think they had different intentions for when they first created it. Now it seems like they're doing away with it as they've unified that with the Evolve title, and the Evolve title is going to be the one that kind of stands the test of time. I could be wrong, but Theory kind of stepping on the title upside down gave me that impression. But they had a really good match where you didn't know who was going to win until the very end, and Theory walks away with both titles, and Drake obviously has nothing to be ashamed of. Put on a really great performance.
Theory's really got the world by the balls. The kid's like 14 years old, and he's double champion, best shape I've ever seen of any professional wrestler. Just living life, man. Yeah, it's got to be good to be Austin Theory, huh? Boy, I wish I was 20 years younger. I'm depressed. The main event. Adam Cole versus Akira Tozawa. To me, listen, it was a good match. It didn't set the world on fire. I think it was tough to follow JD Drake and Austin Theory. The crowd was kind of deflated by this point. And I think what hurt it the most is nobody thought Akira Tozawa had any chance of winning. So even the really good falls finishes, I didn't buy into it. I mean, it was a good match, but really they made that the main event because of the Johnny Gargano appearance.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. As you noted, I don't think the winner was ever in doubt. They had a solid match, but again, I don't think anybody thought Tozawa was going to win it, so it doesn't really make the near falls as hot, and the story of the match and all that. But they wanted to do, the ending angle with Gargano, which really wasn't too much of an angle, just kind of him coming out at the end and giving a speech, and then the show going off the air because he's been such a big part of the history of Evolve. So that's fine. I mean, there were enough good matches on the show, and this match was still solid in itself. I think for it to be
wasn't
overall,
bad.
Overall solid effort. So.
I still have to watch Evolve 132. I'm not going to lie. It's been a very long week of pro wrestling, and I'm going to watch it this week. However, give me a rating for Evolve 131 out of 10.
8.
It drives me crazy when you hit it. Yeah, I gave it an 8 too. Thanks. Thanks, Joe.
You're welcome.
Listen, I gave you a new nickname this week. And it's not... Listen, why don't we do this? I think what we need to do is, you're clearly wearing blue on blue for a reason. Why don't we open up a Twitter just so all of the women can stop DMing our podcast Twitter because they heard the rumors of the Stallion and Blue Chew, right? Because I'm sick of swiping every day, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 messages from women, just they heard what the Stallion was capable of. And the reason for that is he's blue on blue today. It's subconscious. He's sending a message to the ladies.